Hey everybody, Papa Wiggs here with Wiggs. We're gonna do our Monday Night Football recap. We had two games last night, right, Wiggs? I mean, that was weird. Usually that's at the beginning of the season when they do it, but they're having two games next week too. But anyways, I digress. Listen, I don't think the Buffalo game was any surprise at all. I think that Jacksonville going up to Buffalo was going to be really hard for them to overcome that, especially with the way they've been playing. And boy, let me tell you, Josh Allen is looking really good. James Cook is looking really good, and Trevor Lawrence is looking really bad. So let's talk about the good side of things. Buffalo, they had a really great game. James Cook was balanced. He was active in both the rushing and passing game. Um, Keenan Coleman finally got in the second quarter. From my understanding, from what I'm hearing, I think it was some kind of disciplinary thing, based on some actions that he did in the prior week. Nothing major, but the coach wanted to send him a message. So, any rate, Kincaid had a good game as well, so that was nice to see. But on the flip side, I don't know what's going on with that Jaguars offense. I mean, Trevor Lawrence he's not looking like a $50 million a year quarterback, that's for sure. He's missing his targets, and he's not just missing them by a little; he's missing them by a lot. And so I don't know if what's going on with him, if he's hurt or if it's just poor accuracy or what. But he needs to figure something out. He's got some talented guys on there. I was a little surprised at Kirk's performance yesterday. I wasn't expecting that. Um, I know Thomas missed out on the touchdown, because he was overthrown. He was wide open and overthrown. It was just a really bad game. For the Jaguars. It doesn't surprise me the Bills came out on top, with the win as big as they did. So, Wiggs, you want to add anything?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is terrible. Um, he missed some of the easiest passes yesterday. I mean, he overthrew Thomas at least two or three times in that game. One of them for a pick, and it wasn't even close to Thomas. Like, it was bad, and he is just looking worse and worse as the years go on. Everyone's hyping him up to be such a great quarterback, and he is nothing. Like, in my eyes, he is not good. Um, yeah, it was just bad. It was a really pathetic performance from him and the offense there. Their defense couldn't do anything either. Josh Allen came out and had four touchdowns there in the or three touchdowns in the first half. Ended up with four there by the end of the game, but they looked awful in that game, and it was really sad to see. Um, James Cook, Josh Allen, Keon Coleman. I mean, they had a bunch of guys scoring touchdowns in this game.
Yeah,
Not
Shakir had a good game.
Shakir had a good game. He had a touchdown. Their backup running back had a touchdown as well. Like there was a lot of really good play out of a lot of these guys on the team, and it was a fun game to watch on the Buffalo side of things. I mean, fun for the most part. If you're a Keon Coleman owner and had him starting this week, it was very irritating because he was only out there for 30% of the snaps. But yeah, man, what did I tell you? Christian Kirk was gonna have the game this week here, 17 points there, and he almost had a touchdown. It was a very stressful week, at least for me from a fantasy standpoint, because I figures, the one week I play Kirk, he pops off a little bit. So uh,
Yeah, well,
I did call that though. I'm
that's
like
how
to
it
watch it.
goes.
And then focusing on the other game a little bit, Jaden Daniels is a flipping beast. The dude has looked unbelievable. I actually just saw a stat on X saying that there's only been a select few quarterbacks who have scored on every single possession in two consecutive games. Um, Jaden Daniels is one of them. He's in like the same category as Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, and a few other guys. Like it was a pretty good list of
Completed
quarterbacks there.
91% of his
Yep,
passes.
that was insane too. Only two incompletions in that game, and one of them should have been a touchdown to Terry McLaurin as well. He just saw a guy running through the middle of the line, and I think he panicked a little bit. But him and Terry McLaurin, I think, are going to have a really good connection. This was a game where we very well could have seen Terry McLaurin with 160 some yards there with 3 touchdowns because he ended up short on one of the drives by 4 yards. If Daniels hits him on the other drive, it was like a 56-yard completion right there for a touchdown. It could have been like an unbelievable game there from McLaurin. I think these two guys are going to have a great connection here in years to come, and they just, I don't know, they clicked. Daniel seemed way more comfortable this week on offense. He was taking a lot of shots downfield. He completed some really nice passes. Um, Again, just missed on one key one, but it didn't really cost him there in the end. On the other side, Joe Burrow didn't look terrible. I mean, there was a few passes he missed, but I mean, when you're throwing over 300 yards, you're looking pretty good there on the field. Jamar Chase had a pretty solid game. It took him a few weeks to get into the flow of things, but him and Burrow finally got on the same page here this week. I think having T. Higgins back on the field helped out a little bit because Higgins was still getting a decent amount of attention from the defense. So I think realistically in this offense, Higgins is the difference maker. When he's on the field, you can't simply just focus on Jamar because everyone knows what Higgins can do. And their third wide receiver, the rookie, I can't pronounce his name, but he had another touchdown in this game. He's looking good, and it's fun to watch these rookies getting their shots here in the games. They're fun to watch this
Yeah. The second game I thought was, obviously a much better game. Um, no surprises for me with Jaden Daniels because Wiggs will tell you I've been hyping him up all year. I said that he was actually going to be better than Caleb Williams this year. I thought he was going to have a better season, and he felt, and he's doing exactly what I thought he would do. I thought he was a beast in college. I think he's going to be a beast in the NFL. I think the Commanders got their franchise quarterback. They just need to keep him healthy, and I mean he looked amazing. Yesterday. Finding his receivers. You know, running when he needed to run, but not too much. You can tell, you can see his growth every single week. He's growing, and he calls himself out, which is what I love. He takes accountability. When he messes up on something, he to me is just a complete package, and I think the Commanders are going to be a little bit of a surprise team this year. I don't think people are expecting them to do very much, but I think that they're starting to put the pieces together. And listen, their offense can score a lot of points, which can compensate for their defense until they can get their defense to figure it out. Now, obviously, their defense, it wasn't like they looked great against Cincinnati, but they did enough to win the game against a tough Cincinnati offense. I agree with Wiggs. Burrow looked better. Chase looked good. He came out and had a great game. I think it's going to help when they have Higgins. I think that hopefully they can dig themselves out of the hole that they're in right now, though, which I think is going to be a challenge for them. Uh, I think they're really going to miss Joe Mixon this year. Nothing against Zach Moss or Chase Brown. I just think that they're going to miss Mixon, um, a bunch this year. So they got a big hill to climb here to get back in the thick of things. They just got to take it a week at a time, and hopefully Jamar and Burrow will keep up their connection, and hopefully Jamar will keep focused on the football field instead of everything else, and stop whining about everything. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's listening to them whine, especially when they're in the situation that they're in. So I get it, but focus on football and go out there and play. So, but yeah, it was a good. The second game was the best out of the two, obviously, definitely. And I picked the Commanders, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I was on the fence there with that, but Jaden Daniels has been really impressive to me so far. Especially going from week 1 to now, these last 2 weeks where he's actually just sitting there in the pocket and actually looking for his receivers. Last night he looked comfortable. The only time he ran the ball is literally when he had to. His receivers were covered, and he was extending plays and picking up, crucial third down runs to extend drives there for his team. And the only time they really designed a play around him was right there at the goal line when they ran a read option, and he literally read the defense perfectly, had a free walk into the end zone there. So
Yeah, and hats off to their offensive coordinator, because this is what I've talked about. Wiggs has heard me say this before. You gotta design your offense around the strengths of your quarterback and take advantage of that. And I think the reason why Daniels is having a lot more success than Williams, outside of the fact that I think he was more NFL ready, in my opinion, is that Washington, when they brought him in, they designed the offense around his strengths. That's why he's having success. That's how you set up a young rookie quarterback for success. And the thing is it's not like he was throwing a lot of just dump off passes to complete 91% of his passes, right? I mean, he had that really nice throw downfield to McLaurin, for what, 50 some yards and stuff. So, I mean, they're designing the offense around his strengths and the strengths around the playmakers. That's why they're having success. So hats off to the coaching staff there, because they're feeding off of what his strengths are, and that's only gonna make him have a better season. So with that, Wiggs, you got anything else to add? All right, well, check us out on Fantasy Fools PPR on YouTube. We're also out on Snap, X, TikTok, Instagram. Like, share, subscribe. We'll take any feedback that we can get. If you got any questions, just let us know. And until next time, we'll see you soon.